Five.
Oh, hey, awesome. Here we are, Kel Williams in West Greater Hartford, Glastonbury, and we're going to talk about technology and kind of the evolution of the real estate industry itself. This is a really important conversation, my friends, because whether you're buying real estate, selling real estate, own real estate, this is where the industry is going. So I want to thank you guys for taking a few minutes as well to partner with us and come into this short presentation, very short. So I'm going to draw this out. So I'm going to draw 3 circles. Let's see how my circles are. 4 circles. Not too bad, huh? All right, so the first circle represents the agent, okay? So remember, guys, this is, part of me doing this is for myself mastering. I need to master this conversation, Ed Sutton.
That's right.
Why do you think this is an important conversation, Ed Sutton?
Why do I think it's important?
Yes.
I think this is the fourth revolution of our economy, not just real estate, but the entire economy.
Okay, I love that. And when you say the 4th industrial revolution?
We had the industrial revolution, right?
All right.
Actually, before that, you had the agrarian, the farmers.
Agricultural.
Here he comes with
And
the
then you had the industrial revolution.
Smartest guy in the room.
Then you had the industrial
Good
revolution.
word.
And then you had the technology revolution, like
Alright.
the
Here comes the
PC. And now this is the data.
Okay.
Artificial intelligence. Okay, Google.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, Siri. That's
Yeah,
what
so
this is.
that's it. Artificial intelligence. It's data. It's whoever has the most insights and the most information wins this battle.
Correct.
And that's actually the underlying. So this is essentially the industry, right? So we started off. I don't know about you. I've been in business 16 years now. Maybe 18, 19 years ago, agents were using a book, right?
Yeah.
What happened after that?
The
Put the
book.
book away.
The MLS, remember the MLS showed up, right? That was when it became a tech-enabled agent. So the tech was enabling the agent. You get that? The MLS showed up. So do you think we're ever going to go back to only the agent?
No.
Did you guys see that? We're going to have a book again, and the consumer's going to have to call Ed Sutton or Steve Luca if
I
they want to
hope
buy a
so.
house. No, that's probably never going to happen, right? So that's done, right? So we're never going to go back to that. How about tech, though? Do you think it'll ever go to just tech?
No.
100% just tech now.
So okay, so fiduciary. What's a fiduciary? I know it's a big word. Let me see if I can spell that. Actually, I probably should have practiced spelling that before I started this, right?
Good luck.
Talk to us about real estate. What's fiduciary?
It's our responsibilities.
C-I-A-R-Y.
Yes, fiduciary. What in real estate are fiduciary functions?
Protecting our clients.
Protecting the clients, Chris Grant. Awesome.
Yeah.
Like how so?
I think being honesty and having loyalty with them and helping them to really create wealth through real estate.
I love that. So being honest, having loyalty,
Disclosure.
maybe market analysis,
Knowledgeable about what they're asking you.
knowledgeable. Something else too that hasn't come up yet. Really, really important as a fiduciary. The ability to what?
Change? Grow?
Negotiate. Right? Negotiation. So will tech ever be able to do all the things we just talked about?
No.
No, it won't happen. I mean, possibly when computers take over the world, robots in, I don't know how that could be 10 years, 20 years, I don't know.
Hopefully we're dead.
Hopefully we're not dead in 10 years, but I mean,
I don't wanna see that.
anyway, maybe, hopefully it's a long, long time away, right? So the reality is, at least not in the next foreseeable future, is that gonna happen. So these are the 2 that we're left with, right? You have tech-enabled agent, and you have agent-enabled tech. So what are some examples of agent-enabled tech? Kelly. Okay, how so?
Because as you use it, it's smarter.
Okay, I like that. That makes a ton of sense. What I would say though is Kelly agent-enabled tech, and I appreciate your question, or is it actually tech-enabled agent? Is Kelly enabling the agent, or is it enabling the tech, is the question. I love the question. It's a real question, right? I would tell you that I think Kelly would go on this side,
Okay.
right? Because it's enabling the agent.
Right.
So the technology is helping
The agent.
Yes, right? So what the tech companies want us to do is they want to create, well, ultimately what the techs are is functionary. What's functionary? Let's talk about some functionary stuff.
like inputting data,
Yeah,
extracting data,
sure. Inputting, extracting,
searching.
search. Anybody can do that. You can do that on Zillow right now. You can do that on just about any site, right? Search. That's easy functionary, right? Even data, like you said. I mean,
Zestimates.
yeah, signs, all that stuff. Functionary. It's not fiduciary. So Zestimates, another perfect example. Okay, so now let's talk about an agent-enabled tech. So what are some of those things now? Actually, I gave you a couple clues here, right? Realtor.com, Trulia,
right?
Zillow, right? What do those guys want from us?
Money.
They all want our data, right?
They want our.
Because without the agent, up to a certain point, I'd say that they had no power without the agent in going to get the listings.
Yeah.
Right? Everything came from the listing and the relationship with that realtor and their client. So those were born out of that, and now because they found a way that they've just done their job, they've been able to gain the confidence and the trust of the consumer.
Absolutely. And in the end, the consumer is going to decide where they're going to go for real estate. So Zillow has done a fantastic job right now of gaining the consumer side of the business. Meaning most consumers, unfortunately, we're real estate agents, but they still choose a lot of times to go to Zillow before they go to a real estate agent, right?
Well, I think that's because we have lost our value proposition in the
Okay.
eyes of the consumer, and that as a real estate community, we gave them all of the data.
Yeah.
Every MLS thought it was the best thing ever. We gave them the data, we syndicated, we
Sure.
gave it to them, they put it out, and they just did a much better job capturing the eyeballs and the attention of the consumer, so that they've done that. They've won that war, at least to this point, of the capturing the eyes of the consumer.
Yeah,
They did a very
Well, I
quiet.
can't tell you how many times I meet a new buyer and they go, oh, well, I went, oh, well, Zillow says this. I mean, I think
Yeah.
every single buyer I've ever worked with has said that to me. Well, Zillow said this, or
Sure.
Zillow told me this, or
And is Zillow accurate all the time?
no. I always tell people to Realtor.com.
No.
Go
Don't
to
tell them that.
Realtor.com. There you go.
Their actual
So-
disclosure on their page says that 50% of the time they're 50% inaccurate on their data.
Right.
That disclosure is
and
there.
that's a challenge for realtors and for consumers, right?
Yeah.
So consumers that are watching this. The big challenge though now for the realtors is actually this, is that Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, along with a bunch of other companies are trying to get between us, the realtor, and the consumer. They're trying to take the fiduciary out of it and create functionary. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And they'll never be able to do that. We already determined that. But what's
There's
going to happen
I
now?
bet there's a there's a certain number of people that probably that will work for.
Maybe, yes,
a
maybe
small
an
audience of
investor,
people,
right?
right.
Possibly an investor that doesn't care, he knows his numbers, right? But the average consumer that wants to
Right.
sell their $300,000 house
Right.
and they're looking for somebody that's going to consult them and have their back, they're going to be concerned about that, right? So the challenge for us as realtors is right here. These companies now are jumping between us and our clients, and they typically want about 30 to 40% of the transaction, right? So what does that do for realtors is it takes away our ability to be able to market the property right, give the right, all that stuff that we typically do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what are some of the other companies now that are popping in? Have you guys seen these guys?
What's Redfin, yeah, Purple Bricks.
Bricks, Open Door, OfferPad. So what are these guys looking for? Same thing, it's about 1%. So the challenge here that this presents for us and for consumers is that they're losing this.
Well, I think again, in the absence of value, regardless of what industry it is, in the absence of value, everyone is going to look at cost.
Yes.
So our inability to demonstrate our value has driven people to look at the cost equation, because when someone's buying a Lamborghini or someone's buying a yacht, they are not looking at the cost. So or Mercedes, they've done a great job at creating a brand and a value around it. And I think that we've done a very poor job over time continually showing our value proposition as a fiduciary.
Yes.
So of course, in any business, they're going to go right to price.
Yeah, 100% Ed, you nailed that. And that's what we have to do a better job now of as realtors going forward, of bringing that value back and educating clients on how this is not going to be in their best interest. Sometimes, like you said, maybe it will. If somebody an investor knows exactly what they want, wants to flip a house, that's easy. But when you're dealing with somebody that their whole livelihood is involved in this, their nest eggs, everything they've worked their life for, that's important. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's where you need a fiduciary involved in this process for you. So let's put all this together. Well, what questions do you guys have before we do that? Like when you see this, what questions come to your mind? I'm sure there's other people watching live right now that have questions or like, what is this guy even
Well, how, just for the audience, I mean, how far gone are we, in a sense, not gone, but how far removed have we become with people focusing on the all the other Zillows, Redfins, Purple Bricks, and what is it going to take for us to actually get the consumer to understand that they are lacking a fiduciary responsibility, which in turn will impact them far greater than 5%?
Well, I think that a lot of consumers are probably realizing now that Zillow, there's a lot of inaccuracies on some of the sites. I think ultimately, to answer your question, I don't know the answer, Steve. I don't have a crystal ball.
I think Gary
us-
addressed that in the family reunion. We actually have to win the relationship. Like we
Yes,
need to get in and start winning the relationship again. Because other than that, in the absence of the relationship, they're going to the function. They want the function because they're not even missing the relationship.
The robotic
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, they're not missing it.
So you nailed it again. It's really about us getting back into the relationship and bringing that value back to how much of this can we take back? Who knows? That's hard to say. But the reality is that's what we need to do right now as realtors, and that's what Keller Williams is actually positioning us to do right now with our new tools. And like Lynn said, with Kelly and our consumer app and Command, that's how we're able to go back now and bring that value back to the clients and give clients information that they're not able to get, accurate information, right? Information on neighborhoods, information on insights, all that stuff that they can't just get from Zillow. Does that make sense?
Well, it comes back to like their quest to become a tech company, and the war. Gary Keller says it's a war on data.
Yes.
So everybody's looking at the data. We all have, there are 175,000 agents at Keller Williams, and even here locally, 450 agents.
Sure.
We all have a database that we're not touching.
Yes.
That allows those people in our world to be able to have this information at their hands and their fingertips. And that's the only way that we're going to do it.
And I think it's a lot bigger than that, Chris. I think as an industry, doesn't matter what company you're at.
Yeah, that's right.
We all have
Any
to get
industry.
together
Yeah.
as an industry and start doing this, because no matter how big Keller Williams is, we're tiny in comparison to what Zillow's created and Realtor.com and in the bigger picture.
So true.
So we as an industry have to actually get together now in order to combat that.
I think it starts with like the man in the mirror again, right? You got to be the man in the mirror. Who am I, and what value am I bringing to this relationship? My personal value, because what Zillow has done a great job, and the others, is really replace the value proposition of most real estate people. Back when you said when it started, the value proposition of a real estate agent was you had a book, you had how many bedrooms, bathrooms, taxes, school districts,
So they don't
what
need
they
us for
pay
that
for it.
anymore.
They don't need us. Zillow does an outstanding job at that. So if your only value proposition is that, you're in trouble. You have to really clarify for yourself inside of this business, who am I and what is the value I bring that someone would be willing to partner and create that fiduciary relationship.
Absolutely.
Because it doesn't matter how much technology you have or you don't have, until you can do that, I think.
Well, I think you all said it. The key now is to get back into those relationships and create the value for your clients, whether it's just keeping them up to date on what's happening in the market, in their local neighborhood, if it's information on properties, if it's this information like, hey, you're going to start seeing Zillow ads on your on your Facebook feed. You're going to see these YouTube commercials. All this stuff is happening now, and a lot of consumers are confused by it. They don't know. They don't understand this. So the reality is, when somebody goes and clicks on Zillow or registers, you know what Zillow's doing with their information? Does anybody know? I mean, you said data, right? Yeah, they're selling it. They're selling it to the highest bidders. And what does that do for, I mean, we all know that, right? That's not a secret now. You go type gym membership into Google, and what happens? All of a sudden, every gym is sending you ads.
Right.
That's happening in all industry now. So the reality is who do you want to control your information? And this is a conversation for real estate agents now. And that's why real estate agents need to understand this. Because when you're buying when you're using all third-party providers with your CRM and your database, they're taking all your clients' information and selling it to everybody. The promise at Keller Williams is we will not do that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great point.
I think that all of this on the technology side of it is great, and I think what to the point of how do we get our value back, and how do we announce that value as real estate professionals? We go back to Gary Keller's statement that our job as realtors is to help people build wealth in real estate. What tech will never do is get involved with the emotional side and the investment side. It's never going to say, what is your long-term plan? And then how do we help you to buy something that you can turn around and sell, keep your investment strong, and then go do something that's going to value and benefit your family.
Chris,
It will never do that.
Listen, buddy, that's
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah, that
You
will
just,
never do
you
that.
just nailed that.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Absolutely, without question. So that's what we have to do right now as real estate agents, is stick together and just keep educating our clients and be. We talk about being a local expert. We really need to be the local expert now.
You know what it's like, actually? It's like, if you were to create an analogy, it's like if you were to buy $1,000 suit online and you went to somebody and had to measure it and sent it over to them, you would get it and it would look okay on you. It would never be like going to a guy and have him measure you right there and cut the suit for you. You would maybe save a couple $100, but you would actually look half as good in that particular suit as you would in the one where the person actually had an input in it.
Yeah, without question. That's the difference between the value and the non-value, and also, you know, when you see these advertisements on TV, we sell your house for 1%. Okay, great. So what are you actually able to do for 1% that's going to get your house sold for the most amount of money? Is the question. Can you really do virtual tour? Can you really do brokers luncheons? Can you really farm the whole neighborhood, market it the right way?
Zillow's
right?
not going to come
Set
out and
up.
do brokers open.
Well, exactly. So those are just some of the things. So any other final questions before we kind of wrap here? Thoughts?
I think just the question is, and you did a great job at kind of explaining the two, it's still wrapping around my head, because you look at the tech-enabled agent versus the agent-enabled tech, it's still, like, there's still some cloud in it, right?
There is.
Is getting clear on what it actually is and who we are. Like, what is it that we're after to be? Like, which one would we rather be? Or are we a combination of both for a period of time? Or are we looking to move to where we want to be one or the other? Like, what do we want to be?
Yeah, and there's for a lot of us, and guys, we did this. It's right. We've been giving Zillow our listings and our information for 10 years. So that doesn't. We're not going to change that. Now it's just a matter of, do we want to just partner with Zillow, and do we want to partner with all these big tech firms, or do we want to be real fiduciaries?
Yeah, I think
Right.
that helped to clear it up a little bit, what you just said, because we've always been able in the technology as agents by giving them our data.
Sure.
We allow them that so the consumer could go see it, but what we've done is we've just brought the Trojan horse in, and they've come out, and now they're putting signs up in New York and some other states where it's a Zillow sign in the yard.
Yeah, it can become a challenge, because let's say we decide, okay, you know what, I'm gonna be a Zillow agent. Fine, I'll be a Zillow agent, I'll be a Redfin agent, but now all of a sudden, my livelihood has just been cut in half. So can I really still do everything I was doing before in order to serve you, to be a fiduciary? It's gonna be a lot more challenging. Does that make sense?
Well, that's the specialist of going to a walk-in clinic, for a brain problem.
Yeah.
You're not going to the walk-in clinic. You're going to go pay somebody top dollar that's going to take care of your wealth, your health, like that health side of you, versus somebody's going to help you to protect the financial wealth of you, and that's your realtor.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, you know, it reminds me of the travel industry, because 15 years ago, if you wanted to go on a vacation, you went and you sat down with a travel agent, right? And you went through all the stuff they had, and you selected vacation, they set it up for you. What does that look like now? for the most part, 90% of the time, what do? You go to like Expedia.
Yeah.
However, if you're going on like a really fancy, exclusive type vacation, what do?
You gotta call travel agent.
You go find the top-notch, cream of the crop travel agent. Guys, in my opinion, that's kind of where the real estate industry is going. You know?
I just watched a travel agent who I just following and admiring in Weathersfield. They've been there next to D'Angelo's forever, and they just went out of business in the last 2 weeks. It really is interesting and telling. Yet in West Hartford Center, there is a massive, thriving, beautiful travel agency. So clearly they've done something to define value, because it's it's right over by our market center actually.
Yeah.
And they're doing something right.
Right.
It all comes down to value. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying we have to be that for realtors, and Julia and Zillow and all of that's not even gonna, they're not even gonna think about that. So we
Again,
have to
it's
provide
an
value.
ill-fitting suit as opposed to a really nice looking suit.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's a choice now. It's going to be a choice for us as realtors. Do we want to be the elite real estate agent or travel agent that's still thriving, like you talked about, or do we want to be the agent that just says, okay, give me a piece and I'll go out and I'll open some doors for somebody.
And
And-
quite
and
frankly,
that's
I don't
it.
think either one is right or wrong. I think that consumers are going to choose what works best for them, and you know, Zillow has a value proposition, and Redfin, and they're doing an outstanding job communicating it.
Yes.
Outstanding.
If they're running Super Bowl ads, they're
Correct. So
doing
we,
something
like
right.
to
Absolutely.
basically poo-poo them is wrong.
Yeah.
They've done their job. We just haven't done
I
ours.
don't poo-poo them.
Me neither.
I just
I admire them. They're doing a great job.
I want to be the niche
Right.
niche top travel agent guy.
Yeah.
With the custom
With a
suit.
great suit and a nice suit.
Right?
Yeah, well,
That's-
success leaves clues, and not once did Trulia, Zillow, or Realtor.com ever poo-poo on the agent. They never did. They embraced them so much so that there was that transition, and so, like to Ed's point, we have to do the
So-
same exact thing.
They need our
You're-
money
yeah.
to grow their
Yeah.
Keep
business.
embracing, keep embracing, and what's going to happen is, before you know it, they're going to say, well, Chris, you know, I so appreciate the fact that you've been giving us a 40% referral, but you know what? John Smith down the road said he'll actually do it for 60%.
Yeah.
Keep your friends close.
So
but your
yeah,
enemies-
so
Yeah.
hey, listen, sorry Zillow, everybody else is doing that, but that's what I can, at least what I see.
Yeah, if we do our job, they need us. more than
Honestly,
we need
it's
them.
it's the art of war, written
But-
Japanese war is destroy from the inside.
Yeah,
So
without question.
they come at us from and have come to the middle
They've
of us,
done
and now are destroying us inside.
a phenomenal job. The one thing I don't want to get lost in this presentation is for consumers that are watching this. It's really, it's been said multiple times that this is about bringing the most valuable experience to the consumer, regardless whether you're doing it through an agent that works with Zillow or through an agent that works with any real estate company. It's still the agent's responsibility and fiduciary responsibility to still create the best experience they can.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. Thank you guys.
See ya.
Thanks.